Hello everybody, it's Sylvie, welcome back. I hope you're doing good. Today's video, as you can tell, is going to be an unboxing first impressions flip through of these two decks because I got these in today. I ordered them off Amazon because I had a promotional gift voucher thing to use up, and all of the decks that are high on my wish list at the moment are indie decks, so I couldn't get them through Amazon. And these are both decks that I have recently become interested in and been really wanting to try out, which is a bit of a surprise to me. I was going to say against my better judgment, but that's really harsh. Not against my better judgment, just against my prior judgment, because these were both decks that I never thought I would want, that I was like, these were both decks I was like, no, these are not my thing, I'm not going to get on with these for reasons which I'll get into when I go into each individual deck. But recently I've just become much more interested in them. I keep seeing them pop up in other people's videos and I think, oh, I actually think I would like that, whether it's because I'm more developed in my practice than when I first saw these, or I've just been exposed to more different decks through TarotTube and different ways of working with things. I'm not entirely sure, but both of these were both at a really good price, and I also had this promotional voucher thing to use. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to get these two. Neither of them cost me, I think I paid less than either one of these would have cost full price for both of them, if that makes sense. I'm not sure if that was a very well constructed sentence. But anyway, I picked up both of these. I'm really looking forward to seeing how I get on with them. And I thought I would do a little unboxing and sort of flip through with you because I really enjoy doing tarot unboxings and walkthroughs because it makes me sort of slow down to unbox them and to actually have a first impression, because if I'm just unwrapping something by myself in my bedroom, I'm not talking through it out loud. Whereas I find with the decks that I've done a video unboxing for, it helps sort of start that relationship with a deck. So that's what I'm doing. I know a lot of people have a lot of thoughts about unboxings, but I want to do them. This is my little YouTube channel. So that's what we're going to do. So as you can see, I have the Crystal Visions Tarot and the Wild Unknown Pocket Edition. The Crystal Visions is a US Games deck, and the Wild Unknown, who publishes you? I'm not sure. It's hidden underneath the label. Oh, Harper One. This obviously is a Kim Kranz deck that took the tarot world absolutely by storm. I'm going to start with this one, I think, because I'm already talking about it. Let me just get the plastic wrap off, because that's going to be annoying. May you always be on the inner quest. Okay, so the Wild Unknown obviously took the tarot world by storm when it was first published. I think it was an indie deck before it was mass market published. And the reason I thought I didn't want this deck was because I didn't think I liked animal decks, which this is, and also the, God, this is a really dinky little deck, isn't it? She's tiny, really pocket, and it's quite minimal art style, which isn't my preferred thing. I prefer a deck with quite a lot of symbolism, but recently I've just been feeling a little more drawn to it. I don't really know why. I definitely have, and I've come around to animal decks in the last, I don't know how long it's been, but I've definitely come around to animal decks. I think we can thank MJ Cullinane's decks for that. I'm an MJ stan these days. But anyway, let's dig in. This guidebook, what the hell? I'm so impressed. It's like a proper little, it's really chunky. It's actually wildly inconvenient with how tiny it is, but I thought this is a really deep tin, if we compare to, oh, okay, so this is my Barbara Walker in a tin, and as you can see, the Wild Unknown is a smaller card size, but it's quite a bit deeper, and I was really confused. But if you look at the chunk of that guidebook, that makes a lot of sense, I think. So, since I've got it out, let's do a little card size comparison. So this is the Barbara Walker, and this is the Wild Unknown. So this is the Barbara Walker, and this is the Wild Unknown. So it is quite a bit small. It's kind of the size without borders. but then it does also have borders. So there's that. Anyways, back to the guidebook before I got myself completely distracted. Oh, I just had a horrible thought that I wasn't recording. So, got a little intro. This isn't going to be like everyone and their mother has this deck, I feel. So I'm not doing like an in-depth like walkthrough or review. I mean, I can't review it because I've only just opened it. So we've got a little bit of info on each of the suits, which actually when it's a deck like this, which is kind of deviating from the norm, deviating from the Rider-Waite-Smith tradition when it comes to the imagery, which this deck definitely is. I do appreciate having the creator's interpretation of each of the suits because it's not visually depicted so obviously. So I do kind of, although everybody, if we're using the traditional sort of wands of fire, swords of air, cups of water, pentacles of earth, they're all kind of much of a muchness. They're all usually the same, but I do appreciate having like a creator's specific take on these things, particularly when, like I say, the imagery is less fleshed out. So there's that. Very basic on the, yeah, no, this is nice actually. So we've got again the court cards, the family of the court for each element, which again I quite like. It's obviously it's a few keywords, it's nothing too deep, but hey. Some readings. Do we have how to shuffle, how to cut? I could do without that frankly, but hey. Past, present, future. Clarity spread. 4-card reading. Connection spread. Year ahead. Celtic cross. Yeah. So I do quite like having spreads in a guidebook. It's one of those things I do to like get to know a deck, is I like to do all of the spreads in a guidebook, not necessarily like seriously, but it's more like kind of putting the deck through its paces a bit, to kind of see how the cards read together before I start doing like real readings with it. Anyways, and then it looks like we've got a page for each, I say a page, it's more like a paragraph, and the illustration for each of the cards. Same for the majors and the minors. Do we get some chat about the majors? No, she's launched straight in. Okay. I will say I feel like for the mini size of this guidebook, we could have done without the images. It could have been half the width and easier to physically handle, but like that's, you know, not really very significant. Anyway, let's get in. So, oh, these are so dinky and cute. Oh, I really enjoy the size. It's so mini. Again, everybody and their mother has either bought or seen this deck, so we'll be quick. But so it looks like we're starting with the minors, which is same as in the book. I will say it's kind of like chunking up weirdly, but I imagine that with a shuffle or two, that will be fixed. So the Ace of Wands, like this is definitely not my usual kind of deck. We've got this very like minimal, like pippish symbols with the black and white, and then the colour, which doesn't. So I'm looking at this thinking like it is quite pippish, and then we've got like the monochrome, but with this additional colour, and I'm wondering, how meaningful the addition of the colour is. Like we've got this like very fiery energy in the ace, and then we've got this rainbow with the 2, and like this is like very ordered, which I suppose you could read into as being like the kind of strategic nature of the 2 of Wands and that planning, and then like bringing everything together in this like blended watercolor rainbow in the 3, and like putting things into action maybe. I don't know. Then we just got the black and white with the 5. This is our 6 of Wands, which I think is actually, do you know what? I do really like this as a kind of follow on from the 5. Like we've got just the black and white with the 5 of Wands, which is, I tend to see it as like a fairly like non-serious competition. But you could definitely read this as like you've not got the colour, it's just that like it's very black and white, it's like conflict, and then this is the same, like black and white, and then you've got a butterfly rising out of the battle of the 5 into like the victory of the 6, which I do quite like actually. And I love a butterfly. I love a butterfly in any deck. And honestly, that was one of the reasons I did end up buying this, is because I know there's a few butterflies spread throughout the deck. I'm a simple creature. This is our 7, which actually I really like this 7. I like this deck a lot more than I thought. I know I'm a whole like 8 cards in. This again, I like this like lightning-y feature in the 8. When did I say? I think it was in my favourite Wands video. I really like lightning imagery in Wands, and I wish more decks utilised it. Again, there's like Stairway for the 9. I quite like. So 10 of Wands. Okay, and then these are our courts, which all have animals in. So I think the majors and the courts are animals, and then the rest of the deck is quite pippish. This is our Daughter of Wands, who is our page. Son of Wands for our knight. Our Mother of Wands, and Father of Wands, which has that same like lightning-y imagery from the 8. I don't have any particular feelings about snakes for Wands. This is kind of my thing with animal decks, is that I don't have a lot of pre-existing animal associations, so they don't have a lot of meaning to me. I don't feel any particular type of way about snakes, so I am fine with that. Okay, so we're on to the cups. This is our Ace of Cups. I really like this scaly like background. This is a cute 2 of Cups. I really like the roses. 3 of Cups. We've got this like sunset and these birds. 4 of Cups. Okay, so when I said it was pippish minors, that was definitely true for the Wands, but we've had quite a few animals already so far in the cups, so clearly I don't know what I'm talking about. This doesn't make a whole ton of sense to me. I'll have to read the guidebook and see what there is to say about it. This very sad looking horse with a 5. We've got less colour in the cups, it feels like. Or do we just have less colour in the more traditionally negative cards? I really like this, the root network for the 6 of Cups. That's a really nice image. Our 8 of Cups. I quite like this with like the sun and the moon as like in like kind of opposition, but then with this one being upside down and like pointed to the sun. This isn't the 8 of Cups. This is the 7 of Cups. What on earth am I talking about? In which case, actually, I feel like this makes slightly less sense to me, and I'll need to see what she has to say about it. This is our 8 of Cups, which again, our more negative cards are only in black and white, and I'm not too sure how I feel about that, because I feel like that imposes meaning that I would quite like to interpret for myself. This is a fine 9 of Cups. I do like this 10 of Cups with all this connection. That's really nice. Okay, and then it looks like we have swans for our court. So our daughter, the son, the mother. This is a really pretty card. You know me, I like a black background with pops of colour. And the Father of Cups. Okay, swords, my favourite suit. We have this like lightning and the... It's not an Ouroboros, it's a infinity, but it is made out of a snake, so it feels like an Ouroboros. I like this eclipse for the 2. It looks cool, and I feel like you can pull quite a lot of meaning from that, because you're stuck between 2 choices, like in your own mind, so like you're eclipsing your own kind of common sense. This I like as a 3 of Swords. I said I wasn't going to go too in-depth about this deck, and I'm giving my thought on every single card. So I like the traditional Swords Through the Heart image, but I really enjoyed this as like an alternative to that. I'm a bit difficult to please when it comes to alternative images for the 3 of Swords, but this I really like. This is a cute 4 of Swords. I don't know if the lamb and the sun mean anything to me personally. This is our 5 with a worm chopped in half, which is interesting. 6 of Swords, yeah, like with the rainbow as like a travel to a better place. Like, that makes sense. 7. I really like this 7 of Swords. Was I watching a YouTube video? Was I reading a blog post? Was it even a recent thing? I'm not sure. But I saw somebody talk about reinterpreting the 7 of Swords with this card, because I'm fussy to please when it comes to the 7 of Swords, but this I really like, because I don't like when the 7 of Swords is just a depiction of somebody like being a thief. I think that's a bit flat. I think that's a bit one-dimensional. I think the 7 of Swords is more complex than that. But here you have the 6 up here, and then you've got this fox sort of hiding the 7th sword, and it's keeping a watchful eye. So it's like, well, why does it feel the need to hide this sword? Like, there was another card with a fox on the 7 of Swords that I really liked as well. I think it was the Terra Volatile, and I mentioned it in my favourite swords cards video. Yeah, foxes and 7s. We have another butterfly. We have a emerging or still partially trapped in a chrysalis for the 8 of Swords, which, yeah, I quite like that. Honestly, I really like this 9 of Swords, this kind of like nightmarish image of, we've got a jawbone of something and some eyes and some worms and stuff. Like, I feel like that's a very appropriate 9 of Swords. I really quite like that. And our 10 of Swords here, looking very melodramatic, as the 10 of Swords should, I think. I love to see owls in the courts for the swords. I think it's MJ Cullinane in her Guardian of the Night Tarot also puts owls in the sword court. So I like that very much. We've got our Daughter of Swords, Son of Swords, Mother of Swords. I really like her. And Father of Swords, looking very stern and severe. And our Pentacles. This is a really nice ace. I like this a lot. You know me, I love the butterflies, so I like this too. I don't know how, like, it doesn't really, aside from the symbols that you expect on the Rider-Waite-Smith, like, does it say balance to me? Do butterflies say balance to me? I don't know, but I like a butterfly, so I'm not mad. This 3 with the mountains. Ooh, I really like that. I feel like I could really dig into that, but it's not coming to me at the moment, but I feel like mountains for the 3 of Pentacles is really interesting and not something I've thought about before as like a symbol of the 3. I suppose if you're thinking of the 3 of Pentacles as like collaboration and teamwork as a strength, and like mountains strength, I don't know, there's definitely something there. 4 of Pentacles, she's very pippish. 5 of Pentacles, we have a very tragic looking rose. I really like this 7. It's quite reminiscent of the Rider-Waite-Smith with the pentacles growing on the plant. The 8, definitely all these like right angles and the like neat order. You've got that vision of like perfection. 9 of Pentacles, no, can't count. Can't count. Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is our 6 of Pentacles. It made sense to me as the 7, so I just skipped straight to it as though it was the 7. But this is the 6 of Pentacles, which I think makes less sense, honestly. I would have preferred that as the 7. And equally, I think this makes more sense as an 8 than a 7. But hey, this does make sense as an 8. However, this is the 8 of Pentacles as a spider's web, which again, like that hard work, that perfection, that like repeated effort does definitely make sense. This is our 9, which again, and like the 10, these are both, see, to me, I'm like, these are the same image, like functionally speaking. You've just got a group of pentacles in the center. So like these are nice, but they don't mean a lot to me. And we have some deer for our Pentacles court. Got our Daughter of Pentacles, Son of Pentacles, Mother of Pentacles, and the Father of Pentacles. Okay, so we're now onto the court. The court, oh my goodness. The major arcana. Goodness, what is wrong with me today? So we have a little chick on a branch as the Fool, which I think works quite well. See, I think this is where my like personal lack of associations with animal like energy is gonna kind of stump me a little bit. Because this is a nice magician card. The leopard, is this a leopard or a cheetah? I can never tell the difference. But it doesn't mean a lot to me personally. Although I do quite like a tiger as the high priestess, that's quite cool. A tree. Okay, these are nice. We've got they're both trees, and we've got a crescent moon and a solar eclipse, it looks like. I do like when a deck shows the Empress and the Emperor as a pair like this, because they are, and I think a lot of decks instead will show the Empress as being like just this maternal feminine archetype, whatever the fuck that means, and then the Emperor is just like strict and harsh, when the Empress is like just pregnant. And I feel like I like when they're showed as like a partnership. Okay, so the Hierophant, we have a are we a crow? I think we're a crow. I think ravens have different beaks. I'm not too sure. And it's a stylized drawing, so who knows? Anyway, we've got the key, so I do quite like that. Geese as the lovers. Geese are terrifying. What a choice for the lovers. We have a single horse for the chariot. Justice. I like that we've got the Progress Pride flag. I do enjoy that for Justice. I really like this Hermit, actually. Ooh. And this is a really pretty Wheel of Fortune. Ooh, I really enjoy that. I don't know if it makes too much sense to me personally symbolically, but I do like it. I think it's a nice card. We've got a Lion for strength with a rose. That's quite nice. Yes, I love a bat as the Hanged Man. This is excellent, and I enjoy this a lot. And we've got Death for Death, I suppose. That makes sense. Temperance. This is a very pretty card. We've got the fire, we've got the water. I like that. This is a fun devil. And yeah, I like this. I like this tower. This looks, yeah, like it's not the same tree, but it's very reminiscent of the Emperor tree. So I feel like that adds that layer of like, oh, this thing that you've built, because the Emperor is all about like building and maintaining an empire. So this thing that you've built is coming crashing down. Honestly, it's kind of a boring star. It's pretty, but it's kind of a boring star. Honestly, same for the moon and the sun. They're nice. They're nothing groundbreaking. Judgment. I wish there was a bit more colour going on in Judgment, but hey. And the World, which is our cover image. Kind of wish there was a bit more going on here as well. So, that's my initial thoughts on the Wild Unknown that nobody asked for. So I'm surprised by the cards that I liked. I'm surprised by how much I enjoyed the Minors. Maybe I shouldn't be surprised because they are quite pippish. And I've been doing some like reading with Marseille, or like trying to read with Marseille, so I'm kind of getting a bit more comfortable with pips. And they feature less animals, and it's the kind of animal energy that I feel a bit less comfy with. So maybe I shouldn't be surprised that I enjoy the pips more than the majors. But definitely some really interesting cards in there. Got to see how she shuffles. Very nicely. Do you know what? This is a really, obviously it's tiny, so it's a good travel deck. But I think if I can kind of get on with the imagery and like read with this, this will be a good chuck in my bag and go kind of a deck. Can she riffle? Or is she too small? Ooh. Just about. Not very well, but she does just about riffle. Should we do my little 2 card, more of this, less of that? see what she's got to say. Okay, more of this, more of the Wheel of Fortune, less of the Eight of Swords. So I feel like, yes, the Wheel of Fortune is about luck and chance and kind of what goes around comes around. But I think in conversation with the Eight of Swords, because the Eight is about being stuck, it's about being trapped by your own thoughts. The Wheel of Fortune also is about momentum. So I feel like the message here is keep moving. Don't get caught up. Don't get so tangled as well. The imagery is quite nice here. So don't get so tangled up in the branches here and the kind of sticky parts of the Wheel of Fortune. Don't get so trapped in your own thoughts about what isn't going your way, because what goes around comes around and things will start going your way again. Yeah. And something to consider. Got the Three of Wands. Implement some plans. There we go. Stop getting so in your own head. Keep it moving, keep that momentum going, implement the plans. Even if it's not going your way now, it will go your way again, because that is a Wheel of Fortune. And what goes up must come down and then go back up again. I'm excited to work with her. I think this is going to be a really interesting one. Okay, so we are now on to our second deck of the day. This is an absurdly long video already, so apologies. I feel like my videos have been really long lately. But hey, if you don't like it, you don't have to watch. So this is the Crystal Visions Tarot. And the reason I thought I would never get this deck is just because of it's quite like fairy magic-y heavy. Here we go. Let's read the little description. Fantasy artist Jennifer Galasso renders traditional tarot symbolism in a unique style with ethereal fairy imagery and a vibrant colour scheme inspired by the 4 seasons and the 4 elements. And like the seasons, the elements, that's fine. But yeah, they're like fairy imagery and the kind of, this is almost a little bit cheesy, I think, the artwork. And I don't, that's not a bad thing by any stretch, but it's not something I have traditionally been drawn to. So yeah, I just thought this deck was not really going to be one for me ever. Like, I'm not really into the like fae energy. Like, that's not something I particularly look to. Having said that, I've pre-ordered MJ Clonane's oh god, take a shot for how many times I've mentioned her decks in this video, but her Pharaxa Tarot, the mass market edition, and I know that's a very like fae deck. But despite all that, I've just seen it pop up quite a lot recently, and I just think it's so pretty. And I also am kind of leaning a bit more into the cheesy side of things, and also butterflies, which are my thing. So let's do a little walkthrough. Should we read what we have to say? Let's read what we have to say. There is a little white book, which honestly I haven't even looked at. I'm assuming it's... Yeah, so we've got upright, we've got reverse meanings, paragraph-ish for each, Celtic cross, nothing overly exciting, nothing unexpected. Oh, hey there. Inspired by Stevie Nicks, we love that. Okay, so this is a little card about the artist. The mix of visual art and psychology that makes up the tarot really appealed to Jennifer. Same. Cool. And yeah, these backs are stunning. So yeah, the colour scheme really appeals to me. It's really pretty. And like I say, I've been really sort of drawn to the slightly more like cheesy side of things a little bit. So that was our Fool. This is our Magician. This is a very interesting depiction of the Magician. I don't think I've seen a magician like this before. The High Priestess. The Empress. Pregnant Empress. But standing on her own 2 feet for a change. The Emperor. See, that's kind of... This gave me more Emperor vibes, and it does look... It's a very similar energy. It does look like we maybe have got a fairly strict colour scheme for like the masculine versus feminine cards. And like I say, like I'm not really about the idea of masculine versus feminine energies, but I know a lot of decks do that. This is just such a pretty Lovers. The Chariot. Strength. That's the thing. I don't think, oh, this is a pretty Hermit. Oh, I really like that. The moodiness in the sky, that's gorgeous. And this is a very cute Wheel of Fortune, actually, with the little dragon. And I like how we've got the zodiacal wheel, because that is more meaningful to me than the Hebrew that is usually on the Wheel of Fortune. We've got these little like tree spirity nymph things. This is so pretty. I keep interrupting myself. I like this very battle ready looking Justice. Hanged Man. I like the mushrooms here on the trees. I feel like that adds an element of like stillness and slowness. Neither is quite the word I mean, but an element of like stasis maybe to the Hanged Man. Beautiful. Ooh, this is a really nice death card. Do you know what? I think this is a really good example of death card that is pretty without being like only focused on the rebirth and the sort of transformation aspect of death. Because we've got a grave here. I'm not sure what this means. I'd have to look that up. And we've got butterflies, which are a nice hint to the kind of transformation of death, I think. Temperance. Lovely. The Devil. I like this Devil, you know. This is really nice. Yeah. What was I saying? I think, oh my goodness, this is so pretty as a tower. I've never seen such a pretty tower card that also really well illustrates the kind of destruction of the tower. That's gorgeous. Okay, I think I need to stop looking at cards while I try and articulate what I'm trying to say. So I don't think a lot of these are doing anything particularly groundbreaking with the imagery, but it's just pretty, and I just want to read with it. I just want to play with it. This is a very lovely star. I do wish there was some water in the moon, but this is so beautiful that I'm not really going to complain. And the sun is also gorgeous. I like this as an alternative to a naked baby on a horse, because we've got a baby, we've got a horse, we've got our sunflowers. I also like the kind of like different like butterflies in the different cards. That's really nice. Got our Judgment here. I expect also that the flowers that have been used is intentional, and if you know your flowers better than me, then you probably know what they mean. And our World here, which I really like. It's kind of Mother Earth without being too obnoxious about it, in my opinion. And I like this little like rainbow of butterflies we've got as well. The Unknown card. So this was mentioned somewhere. So this is an additional card in the deck. I think it was on the back. The Crystal Visions deck includes an Unknown card for gazing into the future or exploring issues with deeper insight. I don't know if I'll leave this in the deck or not. I'm a bit, I'm just not very consistent when it comes to like additional cards. Sometimes I take them out, sometimes I leave them in. Sometimes if I pull it, I use it as a card, and sometimes I pull it and then pull a second card to kind of sit with it. It depends on the vibes of the deck, so we'll see how that one goes. So we have here the King of Cups. It looks like we're starting with the courts. The Queen. The Knight, which is a very nice Knight, and the Page. I will say, and this is a critique I have of a lot of decks, and I'm hardly the only one to have it. There's not a lot to differentiate each of these, I don't think. Although, actually, do you know what? It's not too bad. Our Knight's on a horse, on a unicorn no less, looking very romantic. Yeah, I suppose our king and our queen look fairly kingly and queenly. Got 1 foot in the water, 1 foot on a rock. Do you know what? That's not too bad at all. Our page is actually in the water. Oh, there's that glare there, sorry. Our page is actually in the water. And this is just, again, it's just so pretty, this like gorgeous sky. Also, I'm noticing that the mages had their titles in yellow and the cups have got them in this like pinky purple, which I'm assuming follows through to the other suits as well, which is nice. I like when the suits are differentiated in that way. And we're counting down from 10 for the minors. So we've got our 10 of cups, our family, and the moons. I wonder if there's much intentional symbolism in the, like, we've got a crescent moon here in our 10 of cups, and we've got full moons for all our courts. A full moon here for the 9. I have no idea if there's any intentionality behind that or not, but it's very pretty. 9 of cups, wish fulfillment. Oh. 8 of cups, leaving the water behind. 7 of cups. This is a nice 7 of cups, you know. We've got that, definitely got that like fantasy element with like the rainbow and the dragon. That's really nice. 6 of cups. Yeah, you can imagine that this is definitely a younger version of herself because they've both got the same sort of flower in their hair. That's pretty. Our 5 of cups. She's holding what looks like a baby. Is she a mermaid? No, she's not. Is she? Or is she holding herself? And she's maybe a mermaid? I'm truly not sure what's going on in this image. I'll have to kind of spend a bit more time with that. But I really like these little sprites holding up the 2 cups that she's not seeing. I just think that's a very pretty depiction of the 5 of cups. Our 4 of cups here. This is a kind of interesting take because usually our figure is refusing to see the 4th cup that's being held out, and here the 4th cup is kind of extra special with its gems and with its blossom in, and she's ignoring the 3 that are behind her. So that's an interesting take on it for sure. 3 of cups. This is very pretty. I feel like they could look a bit more celebratory though. So 2 of cups. Do you know what I like about this 2 of cups? And it's just because I'm being gay about it. I like that the sort of like gender or presentation of this figure here is a bit more ambiguous. But that's very pretty. I like that they're sharing, like directly pouring into each other's cups. Ooh, and this is a very beautiful Ace of Cups. I like that a lot. So we're now into our swords. I was hoping for a little bit more variation in the kind of backgrounds, and it looks like we do for the other suits. I feel like we have got this kind of sunsetty, yellowy glow in a lot of the cups, and the swords are looking a bit more moody and stormy, which is appropriate. And we've got bluey titles. So this is our King of Swords. I really like this. Definitely, we've got the seasons showing up here. More snowy. I like the birds. Love this queen. She could look a bit meaner. Personally, I like a mean looking Queen of Swords, but she's very beautiful. Knight of Swords. I love to see a winged horse in the Knight of Swords. I really do. This is an extremely cool Page of Swords. This is definitely what I aspired to look like for a large period of my youth. Okay, and now of course we're counting down, so 10 of Swords, looking a bit dramatic. This is a good 10 of Swords, actually. Do you know, something that irks me is when you've got a 10 of Swords and somebody's been stabbed through the back with 10 entire swords, and when they're like not bleeding, but here she's bleeding into the snow. It's all very dramatic. She's got a rose in hand. This is our 9, which I really like. Interesting that the 9th sword is kind of on the ground and that she is asleep. Looking quite peaceful about it, not gonna lie. Our 8 of Swords. This is very standard looking Eight of Swords, but I like it a lot. I'm liking all these crows or ravens or whatever they might be in the swords cards. 7. This is a good Seven of Swords. Like what I was saying about the Seven of Swords, like this doesn't necessarily show someone being like a sneaky liar thief, you know, like there could be a lot more going on here. We've got these birds have also got swords. She's got 2 of them. In fact, it could be like a bit of a role reversal, because in the Rider-Waite-Smith Seven of Swords, you've got the figure carrying 5 of them and leaving 2 behind. In here, our figure only has 2, and it's the birds that have taken the other 5, which is like a bit of a spin on it, which I like to see in the Seven of Swords. This is our 6. I'm not mad about it. I do kind of like to see the water in the Six of Swords though, but this is honestly giving me Eight of Cups vibes as much, if not more, than Six of Swords vibes. 5 of Swords. I think this is a good 5 of Swords, again, looking pretty dramatic. Oh, this is a beautiful 4 of Swords. Oh, look at that. Gorgeous. 3 of Swords. This is a really nice 3 of Swords. We are being pierced through the heart, but it's kind of more of a scene, and we've got what I'm assuming to be a gravestone, maybe, covered in these roses. And then the rose theme like carries on throughout the suit, because we had in the 10 of Swords as well, didn't we? Like if we're assuming this is the same person throughout the suit, that's quite a nice narrative. I really like that. 2 of Swords. And, oh, that's gorgeous. The Ace of Swords. The aces in this deck are really quite stunning. Do you know what? I can't believe I thought I didn't want this deck at one point in time, because it's absolutely beautiful. But hey, that's how it happens, isn't it? So we're onto our Pentacles. This is our King, who I like. This is our Queen, who I really like. She's got the energy, like the attitude of what I would expect more from a Queen of Swords, honestly. She's looking quite fierce and quite, I think it's the mask. Whereas I usually see the Queen of Pentacles as being much more nurturing. Although I suppose, see, all the queens are supposed to be nurturing, but then I'm like, well, I can't tell the difference then. And I definitely see the Queen of Pentacles as a very like motherly figure, I suppose. Anyway, I really enjoy this Knight of Pentacles. I like how he's under the trees here. I do kind of wish his horse was stood still, but that's me being nitpicky. And this is a very lovely page. Yeah. So our 10 of Pentacles. This is definitely giving me like forest, fairy, witchy vibes. And kind of honestly with the castle in the background, this one particularly is giving me like Disney forest, fairy, witchy vibes. But it's nice. Our 9 of Pentacles. I like this. I like to see a peacock in the 9 of Pentacles, you know. We've got like all the fruit in the trees. And also the pentacles themselves are very pretty in this deck. Our 8 of Pentacles. Perfecting a skill. Yeah. 7 of Pentacles. I would say she's more sort of post-harvest than mid-harvest, but you know, can't be too mad about it. This is I like this as a 6, you know. So I'm not a huge fan of when the 6 of Pentacles is just depicted as like charity and sharing. Because I think that ignores the kind of power imbalance inherent in the 6. And like this one is kind of a bit nice and charity and sharing, but it's like she's sharing with the birds. She's sharing the harvest. So it feels less virtue signally. Okay, our Five of Pentacles is again a little bit more like calm and restful than I would usually expect a Five of Pentacles to be, but it's very pretty. And that is kind of the vibe of this deck. This deck is a bit nice and is a bit soft. So I can't be too mad about it. I really like this Four of Pentacles though. She looks very uncomfortable trying to hold on to all of her resources. This is our 3. It's interesting we've only got 2 figures in the 3, I will say. And I'm not sure this like particularly conveys that kind of collaborative teamwork, building something together, because they're decidedly not looking at each other. So that's an interesting, that's not my favorite 3. 2 of Pentacles, balancing act. Yeah. And our Ace of Pentacles. Why, I ask? Actually, why do our pentacles all look different? Like we have this pentacle, and here it's a pentacle but also kind of a coin. And then here we've got these like gemmy shield looking things. Do you know what? I don't know. I don't make the rules. The pentacles are inconsistent. I wasn't paying enough attention to the swords and the cups to know if they were also being inconsistent. So, hey. Right, so we have our wands, our King of Wands, with a lion, with a... It looks like a dragon, but it's definitely a... I mean, it is a dragon, but it's also got the salamander vibes. So I like that. Do you know what? I love this Queen of Wands. She is looking very, very Queen of Wands energy. And I noticed we've also got the bubbles here. And I don't know if they're going to crop up. Yeah, they are cropping up again throughout the suit. But I suppose that's water. Anyway, our Knight of Wands. Looking a bit uninspired, if I'm being brutally honest, but hey. And our page, I really like this Page of Wands. That's lovely. Do you know what? I really like the pages in this deck. Okay, so this is our Ten of Wands, which I think is a very nice take on the Ten of Wands, to be honest. I definitely get that feel of like being, like feeling burdened. We're going uphill, so we're still very much like on a journey, but also looking like they've got some resolve to continue. Our Nine of Wands, which again I really like. This is a lovely Eight of Wands. So you've got that like movement, that speed with these horses, unicorns I suppose. Do you know what? The colours, maybe notwithstanding, this really reminds me of that scene from the last Unicorn movie. When they're kind of, yeah. Seven of Wands. Six of Wands. Which I feel like could be a Seven of Wands if you stuck another wand in there. Do you know what I mean? Aside from like the laurel wreath, I'm not sure that this conveys Six of Wands energy to me. Five of Wands. I like that we've got the lions as 2 of the figures here. That's nice. This is a very nice Four of Wands that also does not read too wedding-y necessarily, which I do not by any means dislike a wedding-y Four of Wands, but it's nice to see something a little bit different. And our Three of Wands. This is beautiful. Got that like winding road ahead. Two of Wands. And our Ace, which is absolutely stunning. This might be my favourite Ace of the lot. That's gorgeous. Okay, so that's the Crystal Visions Tarot. So yeah, US Games cardstock is always very nice. It always feels like it's got a proper core to it. It definitely feels like springy and flexible. but not like it's just going to fold in half. And I expect I'll be able to riffle it quite nicely. I'm not the best at shuffling the world, but I promise I can shuffle better than I shuffle on camera. It's just a really unnatural angle. Ooh. Oh, she's nice. Oh, she goes with my nails quite nicely as well. Okay, should we do a little sample reading? See how we get on. Right, more of this and less of that. Ooh, interesting. Okay, so more of the Page of Pentacles energy and less of the Ace of Swords energy. Which is interesting because they're both that kind of like, this is about, the page is about learning. They're both that kind of initiating energy, like you're learning, you're exploring something new within the realm of the Pentacles, within the like earthy, the physical, the body maybe, the material, and the Swords is new energy in the sword suit, in the intellect, in the ego, in communication. So I feel like I would just read this as kind of an elemental thing. So focus more on learning and developing practical skills, doing something physical, doing something in the material, rather than seeking out new inspiration in the mental or trying to overwork my intellect, which I do not think is any danger. Okay, and something to consider. We have the King of Pentacles. So again, I think that's just reiterating. I think that's just reiterating what I was thinking here. So yeah, work on physical, practical skills, sort of looking toward mastery in a more long-term sort of way. So yeah. And then we've got that gorgeous Four of Swords in the back of the deck. So that is two quite different decks, I think. Both new to my collection. Both decks I said I'd never buy, but yet here we are, buying them anyway. And I'm really looking forward to working with both of them. I'm really kind of pleasantly surprised by both of them. I think the artwork in this is just so gorgeous, and I feel very drawn to it more than I expected. And then like on the flip side, the artwork in this deck is not what I would usually be drawn to. I'm not usually drawn to such minimalistic cards, but again, there's some cards in here that I think are really, really interesting, and I can't wait to kind of have a play and see what I get out of using it, because it's definitely not my usual style. It genuinely is a deck that I thought I would never buy, because I just thought it did not interest me and wouldn't be very valuable to me. But anyways, this video is fully going to be almost an hour long. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for sticking with me. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've enjoyed hearing my sort of initial thoughts on these decks. Let me know if these are decks that you thought you'd never buy but have got on with anyway, or let me know what decks you do have that have kind of surprised you like that, because I know that we all have those decks that we thought we weren't going to get on with and then have been drawn to regardless. But yeah, let me know if my little mini sample readings spoke to you. They were just to have a play with the cards and see how they came out, but I feel like they both make quite a lot of sense. So if that's what you needed, you're very welcome. But anyways, thank you so much for watching and for spending some time with me. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Give it a like if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.